Yeah, it's the theme from Rocky, and we're going to rock your world today on our sports show. It's Santa Clarita. Is it Santa Clarita Valley, Aaron? What city? What is it?
Coach, how long have you lived here, man?
Not very long. Not very long. Santa Clarita in Southern California. KHTS. We do a sports show every Monday at 1 o'clock. My partner, Ryan Williams, and on my right, my new partner, because Ryan's going back to San Francisco State in a month, so I only have you for a month, Cody Como.
Yes, howdy.
Now, Cody Como sounds like he ought to be a ball player. Now batting left-handed and batting 350 degrees, Cody Como. Are you a lefty or righty?
Actually, funny enough, I do everything right-handed except write and eat. I'm lefty when it comes to writing and eating, but everything else right-handed.
So I'm a lefty, I eat left-handed, write left-handed, and I do everything right-handed. All sports right-handed.
You throw right, Coach? Bat right?
Yeah.
Cody looks like a speedster, though, doesn't he? Like if he gets on base, he's going to be trouble for that catcher.
No, he looks like he's trouble right now. I mean, just sitting here. Big shout out to your mommy. In fact, let's dedicate the show to your mommy, Ellen Como. She looked beautiful today.
Oh, yes, thank you.
She's gorgeous. So Ryan Williams, maybe one of the greatest. Maybe I'm saying a big maybe, but
maybe.
Who's they? One of the greatest high school basketball players in the history of Southern California from West Ranch.
Yes, sir.
Ryan Williams. Loving you having with.
7-footer.
Thanks for having me in, Coach.
I don't like to talk about his height because I'm tall. I'm 6'4", and I've had a hard time buying clothes all my life. I wear a size 14 shoe. I have to order them online. It's not fun sometimes, is it?
Oh, it's a hard life. All the jeans you got to buy online, all the shirts you got to buy online, extra large, tall. It's the worst, Coach.
Me too.
It's the worst. They don't sell 14s in store. It's like every time you go, you got a 14 in these shoes. No, we don't carry those in store.
And every time I walk into a room, I'm always noticed. It's like I'm the tallest person.
Don't even get me started on that. I'll rant the whole hour, Coach.
Yeah, I know you will. All right, the show is called Coach's Corner or Coach in a Corner here at KHTS. You can listen. We got a best, I'm not kidding you, one of the best apps in radio ever, period. Just go to the App Store, KHTS 1220. I'm not kidding you, ladies and gentlemen. KHTS has great shows all through the week. You can listen on the app. Also, if you're at home or in your little cubby hole at the office, cubby hole at the office, like you have a cubby hole, Aaron, don't you? The station. Go to hometownstation.com. It's one of the great websites. In fact, I think it's the leading site, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah.
Number one in the world.
Not in the world, but in Southern California here in Santa Clarita. All right, let's talk about because I've got Cody here and he's a Dodger fan just like that. So I've missed. They won 61 games. How many? And 24 losses. So 80 some odd. So I've missed 3 games. Mm-hmm. So I watched every night. I sit in the backyard, smoke a cigar, have a little cocktail, and watch the Dodgers.
Sounds like the life, Coach.
And my wife says, "Who are you yelling at?"
You should say I'm yelling at Dave Roberts.
I mean, why are you taking him out? You know, so I struggle. So let's talk about several things. Let's talk about platooning, Cody, Aaron, and Ryan. Everybody jump in.
All right.
So it was frustrating in the beginning of the season because I like a set lineup. That's how I grew up, right? But I understand the platooning. You're a basketball player. Can you imagine all 10 players having almost equal time playing? And the reason he does platooning is several reasons. One is he wants the players to be healthy. He doesn't want their muscles to be overused. He wants players to rest, and he wants his players to be ready at the end of the season. He's anticipating going to the World Series. So his players will be rested. Secondly, the science now of Cody, you understand this. The science, the math, the statistics. You put the right guy in against a left-hander, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
You have a guy that can hit fastballs and a guy that struggles with curveballs, or so there's everything is statistical. Mm-hmm. You have that in basketball a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about statistics. It's the shooting percentage. I mean, everything is analyzed so closely, and they really analyze every single part of the game.
But basketball's a little bit different because basically you've got 5 or 6, maybe a 7th guy, and night after night. How many games do you play in college? 30?
Last year we played 31, but we made it to the national tournament. So
That's
we
big.
played more games than probably a lot of other teams.
But
do.
baseball's ridiculous, Cody Como. 162 games. Too many games, really.
lot of games, lot of
Really,
games.
come on. Football season starts in September. Why don't we cut it? Why don't we do 100 games or like basketball, 82 games? I think it would be more interesting. Right or wrong on this, guys?
I agreed. And look, you even laid out the math earlier today. You said 61 wins, 24 losses. You've missed 3 games, so there's been 85 games total. You've watched 82. You've watched a full NBA season already, and we're only in the beginning of
midway,
July right
halfway. Yeah, we're at
Yeah.
the All-Star break.
It's
Well, they
too
lost.
much.
61 and 29. What's the math on that? 69-29.
now. Oh man, Coach.
61 and 29, Coach. That's 90 games.
Really? Have they played that many?
He's still in school. He knows what he's talking
I was
about.
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, he's still in school.
I do go to a state school, but
Yeah.
I could do math.
So, okay, so the science and statistics is interesting to me. Even though I'm old school, I like what Dave Roberts and the Dodger organization is doing. Think about it. Everybody's healthy for the most part, and the proof is we're winning, Cody.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think also keeping some of these younger guys out of having, I mean, you don't want Corey Seager going out there getting another 500 at-bats maybe. So keeping some of those guys a little bit fresher, a little bit, I don't want to say don't overexpose them, but not getting these guys out there to see the entire major leagues twice, everyone getting film on them. I think that could also play into it for some of these younger guys and then older guys as well.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I also think that the Dodgers are kind of building this next man up mentality where they've got these young kids. They've got a great farm system, one of the best in the league. They're bringing these young kids up. They're developing them. They're bringing them up into the big leagues, and they're showing them that they can get time on a good team that still has all-stars, lots of all-stars. They can get time. You know, Kike Hernandez can get a time at shortstop when the guy who's playing in front of him is an all-star, Corey Seager. Or, we got Chris Taylor coming up. I mean, Cody Bellinger just came up and is making a bunch of noise. It's that next man up mentality, and I think that's only going to help them more when they get to the playoffs, when they're playing their best players. But say you need a good pinch hitter, you got Chris Taylor who's been hitting bombs. You got Barnes. Bellinger's going to be starting, but you got these young players that can come off the bench and help.
They look good, at least for another 5 or 6 years. Here, the interesting question for me is, what do we do with Puig? So if I'm an opposing manager, I know how to get this guy out. Throw him a little curveball low on the outside. He'll swing at everything. That's what frustrates me, is I know every hitter's tendencies. So if I know them, and I'm just a layman, sports fan, I know how to get Puig out. I know how to get Seager out. I know how to get Belly out. His real name is Bellinger. I mean, every player. The toughest guy for me is Chris Taylor. To me, I don't see any tendencies for him. Yasmani will swing at anything. I like they've got their challenges because this guy. God, I'm having a brain.
Barnes?
The other catcher, Barnes, Austin Barnes. This kid's a ball player. I like him better as a catcher. I don't like how Yasmani turns his glove. He's horrible at blocking bad pitches. Horrible at it. I mean, I could do a better job of doing it. Pay me that kind of money, and I'll get the glove turned in the right way. So anyway, that's enough of the Dodgers. Do you have anything you want to say, Cody, about the Dodgers?
I haven't seen one Dodger season where they have won so many games in the 8th, 9th inning down multiple runs. That's the one.
That's
thing
the fun part of the Dodgers, isn't it? I've been watching the Dodgers longer than all three of you have been alive. I've never experienced a team like this, like you say, that comes back, that doesn't quit. They've had so many one-run wins, so many come-from-behind wins. The players all seem like they get along, right? I mean, and they're nice kids. I mean, right?
The only thing that worries me with the Dodgers is what you mentioned, those strikeouts. And it seems like a lot of guys on that team strike out a lot. You look at Jock Peterson, you look at Bellinger, you look at Puig. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're hitting well, but they strike out a lot, and that is the big thing that worries me going into the postseason.
It's frustrating, those strikeouts, and I would trade Puig, and then I say, Coach, stop it. catch yourself because he's one heck of an outfielder. I mean, this guy has saved probably 3 or 4 games with his outfield, right?
Yeah,
Cody?
he is, and he's still healthy enough. When you look back at Matt Kemp, was that a few years ago? Remember when we shipped him out?
Why did we get rid of Matt Kemp? Can you tell me
Injuries.
to this day? He was loved in the dugout. He loved in the locker room. What happened? Does anybody know? And he goes down to San Diego, it does okay, then gets traded to Atlanta, and he's back doing great.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a great player. I think they just couldn't sit and wait 3 years for him to get healthy enough to be that main focal point of their lineup again. And, I mean, we got Yasmani Grandal, who's been sitting in there, the starting catcher spot for a few seasons now, who's produced, so it wasn't like a total waste.
And also, it seems like there's a stable of outfielders. Like, this has always been the problems with the Dodgers for, like, the past 5 years. Like, there's, like, 6 outfielders ready to go. Now, Matt Kemp's probably making, what, $25 million a year? You have Puig, who's making $6 or $7 million a year.
Well, and you look back at those days. I mean, you had the Carl Crawfords. You had those lineups.
He was worthless.
Those outfields were just stacked with players, and they had so many of those young players in that farm system that are outfielders that were trying to make their way up, and it just was clogging the whole system.
You kids, you're listening to KHTS 1220 AM, an award-winning radio station. Also can listen at hometownstation.com on our app, also in the App Store. Just put in KHTS 1220 in the App Store. The show is called Coach's Corner, Coaches in a Corner. Sometimes I'm in a corner. Let's finish off by saying this, that there's a good chance they're going to win 100-plus games. There's a darn good chance they're going to go to the World Series. The Cubbies are struggling. So
Struggling very bad.
yeah. So the team that we have to get by is the Nationals. So this is not funny. I mean, they kind of whipped our little butt when we went back there. So they're legit.
Yeah, no, they've got a good squad, and they're playing well.
Do the Dodgers have a good bullpen this year? Coach, I've watched as many games as you've missed.
Their bullpen is rated the best in the National League. Rated the best
I'll believe it when I see it.
based on what, Cody? ERA, earn run, what else? Walks, strikeouts. I mean,
Probably several metrics. I mean, they've done a good job of bringing a lot of these guys back. It's not a whole lot of moving parts. You still have Pedro Baez, who's been in the bullpen a few years. Of course, we have Kenley Jansen, who's become probably top 3 closer in baseball. For the
why
last few
bring
seasons.
Fields back up? So I'm irritated. They sent him back to Oklahoma, which I celebrated that. Now he's back up. Last thing before we move on to basketball, because Ryan is just chomping at the bit to talk about the summer league. Last thing is, would you bundle? You know baseball, Cody Como. Big shout out to your mom, Ellen. Is she going to listen to the show? She's not listening, probably.
Probably not, but maybe she is. Shoutouts.
Let's bundle. Who do you want to bundle? Bundle Puig.
Ooh, trade machine.
Yeah, let's bundle Puig and Peterson for a great right-handed pitcher. We need a great right-handed pitcher.
And they don't need Peterson or Puig. They have so many outfielders.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say just you look at the staff. What are we going to do now with Hyunjin Ryu? What are we going to do with Kenta Maeda? What are we going to do with a lot of guys? I'm not sure all their contract status. Maybe some are expiring, but
Kenta, bring just what he did. Bring him in for 4 or 5 innings. Here's the other thing, too. Think about this, and then we'll move on to basketball because I know you're salivating here. Last thing is you bring these guys in for 4 or 5 innings. Nobody gets credit for anything. You don't have to pay them anything. Think about it. Think about management, right? There's only one Clayton Kershaw. Everybody else is vanilla. So we don't have to pay you hundreds of millions of dollars because you can't go more than 5 innings. Anyway, we're done.
What about Alex Wood, Coach?
He's there's always an outlier every year in baseball. He's the outlier this year.
I look at him, and you remember that season Jake Arrieta had when he won that Cy Young, and he just kind of came out of almost nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds pretty much the same as this Alex Wood story.
We've got one of those guys?
10-0. All right, back to I have to admit I was changing to basketball now. Summer leagues in Vegas, they're selling out. Lonzo Ball, I did watch this weekend, and I love the way he passes. I love the way he moves. He's quick like a deer.
Yeah. Another game tonight too, Coach. Don't forget that.
I'll
I think
be watching
7:30 against the Kings.
He's quick like a deer. I'm not sure he's going to be a great shooter yet, but he can pass the ball. He can move up and down that floor. He's clearly a team player. He'll share the ball, no question about it. He just needs to put on weight. He looks like a high school player out there. He looks like a kid amongst men, doesn't he?
Yeah, I was in the same position going into college. I was going in at like 210, 215, and that's a man's sport. The NBA is no joke between college. I mean, he was 1 year removed from high school, one and done into the NBA, and he just looks oversized. And, the thing I do like about Lonzo Ball, though, I was a little suspicious about picking him with that second pick. I was looking at De'Aaron Fox and a couple other options, but his passing is contagious. You saw it with the whole team, both games. He quickly inbounds the ball. They quickly get the ball to him on the inbounds. He's throwing it up the sidelines, and you're getting 2-on-1s with Brandon Ingram.
Did you see
those
the
are easy
smile
buckets.
on Magic Johnson's face? Magic sitting there going, you know what? You remind me, kid, of how I used to play. Yeah. His moves are spectacular, but I agree with you. He's got to put on 20 or 30 pounds. And I like what you just said. The NBA, people don't realize when you watch basketball on television, you have no idea how physical it is. Even in college, there is a lot of hitting that goes on that the camera doesn't pick up. You got to be a stud to play basketball, and I'm concerned that once we get in the real season, some nasty player from another team is going to take this kid out.
Yeah, here's the thing: is that it's not so much the weight. He's also just got to get used to the pace. That NBA pace is completely different from the college game, and he's just going to need a little time to adjust to that. And I feel like once he adjusts to that pace, he's not going to get injured by some nasty player. It's not going to matter if he puts on the weight. It's just that pace that he needs to get used to.
Saturday he did look like he's in a little better shape. On Friday he didn't, but on Saturday he looked like he's in a little bit better shape.
You look at that as nerves. I thought that was just nerves.
Yeah,
first game nerves.
I love Lonzo Ball. I love his game, but I think he's going to have a hard time adjusting to today's NBA, at least in the beginning, because point guards now, the bigger point guards, they create their own shots. They're point guards, but they're point shooting guards.
Scorers.
And Lonzo Ball has a hard time creating his own shot. Now, he can run the offense, but the offense can't run through Lonzo Ball.
Aaron, that's an excellent point. You're listening to a show called Coach's Corner. Coaches in a Corner here at KHTS 1220 AM. In the corner with three young men that really know sports, Aaron, Ryan, and Cody. And when you look at the NBA, and you're 100%, Lonzo's got this funky little way of shooting,
where he brings it across his face and kind of slings it.
Yeah, but we were just talking about we know Cody Como and I know how to get guys out if we were pitchers. Mm-hmm. Aren't you going to know how to block a shot? Aren't you going to know that that's his go-to? He's only got that go-to, and he's going to be able to easily be able to defense this kid.
And it's really slow too. It's not Steph Curry's got a real quick release. He catches it and it's out. With Lonzo, it's like he catches it, he brings it around, he slings it up. It's real unorthodox. I don't think that they should change it because I think that in college he shot a good percentage, but it's definitely going to be easier to guard than other shots.
It's a lot like Tim Tebow's throwing motion.
Yes.
Like it was successful in college, but at the quicker pace of the professional level, I think he's going to have a hard time getting it off.
And I think that we're not going to get the full feel for it in the summer league. I think that we're going to get a better feel for it when we get into the regular season and we see how he's playing.
Which is another reason why it's exciting, because he put up 11 assists with the summer league roster. You get some professional shooters on that team, you're looking at 15 assists.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one thing with the roster. It's built in a pretty good spot for him because he could slot right in. And we got Brook Lopez who came over in the summer. He's a 20-point guy. You can
great
put him down low.
pickup. Brook Lopez was a great pickup.
Of course. And then also one person we saw come up big was Ingram in one game in summer league action. But we just saw the way. Ball's looking to feed him the ball. I think he'll have some options to kind of get the ball out of his hands so he's not going to be asked to score 15, 16 points as a rookie. And maybe 3-4 years down the line we'll see that shooting come around.
And you look at Ingram too. He was balling. He took that summer league and he was taking those kids to town. He looked like a veteran out there, which in a way he was because he started for some of the year last year. He was easily hitting these turnaround jumpers, hitting you with the little Hakeem Dream Shake.
What do you make of the hair?
The hair.
I love the hair. I think it's giving him power.
It was the D'Angelo Russell look.
Because your hair is like his hair.
Honestly,
I'm thinking about going cornrows.
His hair could be whatever he wants to be as long as he's scoring 15 a game. I don't really care.
I think it looks cool.
Yeah, you're listening to a sports show every Monday at 1, and we normally talk Ryan and I, about local talent. But you know what? It's summertime. The high schools are out. Ryan will be, even when he's up in San Francisco playing for the Gators, you'll call in on Mondays.
Of course.
Let's go around the room and talk about some other sports. Did anybody catch? We're going to take a break. We'll take a break. Come back and talk about some of these other sports. Anybody watch Wimbledon? Any tennis?
Cricket. Are those crickets in the background?
I think I caught that. Yeah, I think I caught Nadal recently today. Had a pretty good match, I think.
I was watching a little bit.
I haven't seen any of Wimbledon.
How about NASCAR? Anyway, let's take a break. We'll come back. These are three young puppies. Maybe they don't even know that other sports exist. The show is on KHTS 1220 AM. We're so honored that you would even take a minute to listen. We'll be right back.